There's so much talk these days about streaming services and whether they're helping or hurting artists. You know, it may be just more fundamental that people are listening to music in different ways. But the argument always ends with, is this killing the music business? Is it killing artists? Fred, you've worked at record companies. You've worked side by side with artists. You manage artists. Is Spotify and streaming services in general, throw Beats, you know, throw them all in there, right? Helping or hurting artists at the end of the day?
I think it's helping artists. You know, I'm an advocate of streaming, and I'll tell you why. As, you know, a marketing person and also a management person. Right now, there is definitely some issues with protection of the artist's content, and also, you know, the monies that are coming back. I do think that things are headed in the right way to even out that playing field, if you will. I really do. So that isn't the concern. As far as streaming goes, the reason I'm an advocate is for a new artist, right? We talked about radio earlier, okay? Traditional terrestrial radio, $100,000, I threw it away and stuff like that. This is the sure way to get your music out. There's so many discovery mechanisms, playlists within all the streaming services. So to get that kind of following, there's no substitute for a developing artist right now. How I would use those for a lot of the artists that are branded, when
you say branded, you mean artists that have a track record, have a career, Jackson Brown,
Bonnie Jackson, like that. The way I would use those streaming services is more of a specific marketing tool. So it may be a, you know, non-album track or something that I'm releasing right on top of the full album release, but not necessarily 2 to 3 months prior.
Yeah, a little bit of a teaser.
So there's a different efficiency level and use depending on the strength of the artist brand at that point. Also, those streaming services want something unique from those artists that are already made. So you know, for most of the artists that are listening today, that are in development mode, you should roll.
Yeah, and I hope you take to heart, you know, what we talked about earlier. You know, don't get lost in these silly freaking arguments about getting paid. Now, this is coming from a guy who spent the better part of my life trying to get artists paid, and I enjoy when the artist gets paid. But the risk of getting screwed if you're successful in the music business is so far outweighed by the risk that nobody will know who you are. That when you're just starting off, get your music as wide as possible. If it makes a connection, if it attracts the great manager and a label and all that stuff, trust me, you'll find a way to get paid.
It's helping build your brand. If you don't have a brand, there is no money to argue about
or to get screwed out of. Thank you very much.